Picking right back up where we left off in part 1. Oh, gorgeous. That is a beautiful, beautiful coquina, and it is paired is even an extra bonus. Don't find them paired and beautiful like this washed up too often. On the beaches over here, we got some scalies in the hand, and here's another pop of beautiful, beautiful orange. On this orange purplish simile, I was just talking about the color orange in part 1, that it stimulates the brain by increasing oxygen to it, creates mental alertness, and encourages creativity. Oh, now that's not orange, but that's a happy color too to see. Green, and not too often you see green periostracum. On shells, that is a green star. Now this one, okay, I did not look it up, but don't you think that's a juvenile, like an embryonic hairy Triton? I mean, the teeth kind of look like that. Hey, I'm going to say it is. That is, yeah, it's pretty windy out here. That is pretty fabulous if that is a juvenile. I can't keep a hold of shells. All right, so check that out. Can you see it? Sundial. That is so awesome. That was totally surprising to see because I wasn't really expecting to see a sundial. I've always wanted to find them around here, but the only one I've ever found was actually my first sundial in the water here snorkeling. So this is pretty fantastic. And those sundials, the very top of that always has a little tiny hole in it. And here is supposed to have a tiny hole. That is a cayenne keyhole limpet. Oh, and here is a white beard arc. I was saying white bearded arc before, but no, it's white beard arc. A little chipped on the corner, but that's fantastic. Hold on to that. The tide is working its way back up. When I first got here, it was working its way down, but I've put in a full work day almost. I think I'm almost 7th hour walking here. Here's a giant coquina with the nice purple, and excuse my thumb up there. I didn't realize it was up there. Trying to hold the phone and look down. Of course, we'll collect and be attracted to the pops of orange on the beach. Another gorgeous scaly, and there's a rock snail, a Florida rock snail. Let's see what we got. We got a corrugate jewel box. Very pretty condition on that one. And a yellow leafy jewel box, a little teeny tiny shark eye, and that is a very small thorny oyster. Too bad I had that hole in it, but it was too cute and little. And a very beautiful, really nice Atlantic lace murex. Check that out. Nice burnt around the corners. And the ones I find over here on the East Coast are just not as lacy. That lace is condensed like that. In a little bit, I'll show you a juvenile one that I found. And it has all its lace on it. You can tell nothing's broken off. And they just they're not that lacy, but they are gorgeous. I don't know if this is like a subgenus of lace murex, but I think it's beautiful. Now that was very surprising to find an entire angel wing. This is a fallen angel wing, the Atlantic mud pittock, and it is supposed to look a little kinked like that as if it fell down. So that was a fun and fantastic find. And these angel wings do not get that big. That's probably, well, they probably get a little bit bigger than that, maybe the size of my finger, but those are relatively a smaller shell. And here's a turkey wing, and it still has a little bit of its shaggy periostracum on the end there. All right, check that out. Now, how strange is this? I think this is the third piece that I have found of this Seaglass. If I could hold on to it. It was windy. The wind did pick up towards the end of the afternoon here. But I mean, this is just very odd to find 3 pieces. Now, here's some Seaglass that I found in the same Hobe Sound area a while back, but I found all 4 of these pieces at the same time. So altogether, that's how much flat sea glass I think. I don't know. I just think it's very strange. Maybe next time I'll find like purple or pink. Something else cool. I really thought that was an entire apple Murex. That would have been great. I just thought it had sand in the aperture, but no, it's broken, but it is broken rather in a pretty design. So I'm almost back at the entrance now, and I can't believe how deep the Scarp wall was here, right by the entrance. I've never seen it this tall and this dramatic by the entrance, but then I started noticing the olives, the shiny olives. These are like classic shiny olives that have been showing up all over Jupiter Island, like probably the past good year or so since we've had that renourishment a while back in the same area. And they're just glossy and gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead and just collect a few. I mean, I was really tired. I'm gonna sit down in a few minutes. But I was just like, okay, what can I find in this scarping? Here's a little flat scallop. Oh shoot, it's chipped on the corner here, but that's gorgeous. I'll go ahead and hold on to it. That is a round-ribbed flat scallop and another glossy olive. Let's see, a piece of coral. I did run into a few coral bits that were sticking out also, but coral stays sadly at the beach. There's a little small one. Hold on to that. A little olive too. And I do have some olive listings in my Etsy shop, because even back at Blowing Rocks a few videos ago, like Corey and I, we just ran into so many, and they're growing on me. It's like I go through phases of shells and these glossy olives. Oh, that is so cute. The little one, they just grow on me. So I'm very attracted to these olives lately. And olives can expand their body all over their shell, and they will secrete this slimy mucus, and that is what gives these shells their really glassy shine. Just gorgeous. Now, in general, the East Coast is not known for these really glossy olives. You'll find those over on the West Coast. Okay, now here is that lace Murex I was telling you about. This is perfect. It did not look like it was missing anything, and it's not surf worn at all. And see, the lace is just not as lacy as I find them over on the East Coast. So I don't know if it's like a sub or anything. Yeah, this scarping was pretty high. I mean, really high. It literally blows my mind to come to the beach and it's all flat. Then after a few storms, to find it like up to my face, like where, I don't understand, like the sand versus where the land was. I get that, you know, the ocean eats up the sand, but that dramatic, like, that's just mind-blowing to me. Like, I wish I could see a time warp of that. That would be pretty amazing. Check out that white-ish albino wannabe. My albino wannabe olive. There was so many olives in here. I was really hoping, perhaps, maybe, like, will I find a brown olive in here? You never know. So I was just gonna hang around for a little bit and see what else comes out of the Scarp wall. Another fantastic glossy olive. Ooh, there's a shiny auger. All right, that's a little one, and it has a fantastic point on it. That point is actually the backside of the shell. Ah, back to orange. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning. Power color on that rough scallop. perfect specimen. All right, so right along the bottom, yes, I did take a break and I sat down. I found a honey hole. Now, doesn't that look like a golden olive? I'm going to classify that as a golden olive. I don't know if you can find golden olives on the East Coast, but it had a yellowish hue to it, especially when I compared it to the other ones. I'll show you in a little bit once I wash them all off. But I just sat down. Okay, there's the chestnut turban. Where I find a lot of olives in concentration, the chestnuts hang out as well. Found that at Blowing Rocks too in that video with my husband and I. So I don't know the relationship between the two of them, but they do like to hang out together. So this one little area, I did not like dig a big hole or anything. I was just scraping around and I covered up my little tiny area. Every couple swipes, there was an olive. Crazy. Ooh, there is another lighter one. Beachcombing magazine has an article online about olives and the author and their family coining them as the burrito shell when they first started finding them and didn't know what they were. So I thought that was a perfect little nickname for this shell, and I'll leave a link to that article in this video's description. It's a nice read if you like olives. So having collected so many of these olives over the past year here, I definitely want to do a project with them. And I was thinking about those round mirrors where you just glue all of them around in a circle. I think that would be really pretty. And I have to share with you, and you might have seen these posts floating around Facebook, but one of the most creative crafts with these olives, I think, has been making these fake Genonias out of these. Coastal Inspired for You, an Etsy shop, who is Crafty Mama to the Beach Bumming Dad here on YouTube. She has just outdone herself. I think it's so cute. Like, what a thoughtful, like, especially shellers, you know, in Florida, we're always looking for the Genonia. And she just like crafted these and has them in a cute little box for sale. I will link it in this video's description. Check it out. I think, and she has a really nice Etsy store. I actually just placed an order this afternoon for some of her crafts. So congratulations to her and all her craftiness. But those olive Genonias are just too cute. All right, I collected enough olives for this particular afternoon, so I just went ahead and, since it's right at the base of that scarp wall, just filled in my little hole. I took my little pile down to the water and just rinsed them off, sat them on the backpack here. Just crazy how all this came out of just a little area. So these are my favorites out of all the ones that I did find. The two on the end are so huge. Big monsters of olives in that albino, and I'm going to classify that yellow one as a golden olive. Why not? I put it next to my real golden olive in my shell cabinet, and it is the same color hue of yellow. Okay, before completely exiting the beach, I did notice a piece of helmet sticking out, but yeah, just a piece of it. The helmet teeth, and this was to a king helmet. That would have been really big. Here's a little Mexican telon just hanging out there. And let's see. Oh, I thought that was a Scotch bonnet. You know, I did not find a Scotch bonnet on this beach walk at all over here. Here is a frond oyster. These like to hang out on the sea whips. Sometimes I can really find a lot of Scotch bonnets in this area. I think Scotch bonnets are seasonal. I just haven't really paid attention to when they start showing up in numerous amounts. Last find on the beach that I have basically spent all morning, most of the afternoon, is a knickernut, a sea pearl. Here are my favorite shells that I found on this beach, and before I show you the entire haul, I'd like to share a special project with you that I created for a client and friend. If you watch my videos regularly, you know that I share Bible verses at the end. I am a graphic designer by day, and this was a special project, Seeing You in Me, which is a compilation of uplifting Bible verses, as well as my friend Kathy Abney's poetry and musings. We both felt so blessed how God orchestrated this project. This book is meant to be passed along to encourage others in Christ, and there's a page to record exchanges in the back. So excited about this book for her that I had to share it with you. Kathy's niece, Jessica, here's a picture of us, helped her with the editing of this book, and Jessica is one of my lifelong best friends. In one of my Fort Pierce shelling videos, when she was visiting me, I found my first thrush calorie, and I gave it to her. Jessica also has a book that she published, a children's book, The Adventures of Kit Kat, which I just got for Ella. Both of these books can be purchased from Amazon, and I'll leave the links in this video's description. Here are all of the shells that I found on this long, gorgeous morning out at Hope Sound at Nathaniel P. Reed, and I really love planting succulents in the big broken shells. And if you remember, this one had a big hole on the bottom, but I just put a shell right there so the dirt doesn't fall out, and it makes perfect drainage, and adding it to all my other older shells that I have just created into a succulent garden right by my front door. Love looking at this every time I leave the house, and I do not have a green thumb, and these succulents really hold up well. Lots of olives that I found, and my wannabe golden one, and the thorny oysters were fun too. I did pick up a lot of those. My favorite too were the ones that had that little horn on it and the two little jewel boxes. Found that in part 1. That fall clam was really nice too. And the pretty lace Murexes and that shiny auger, but I think this has to be probably one of the favorite ones. The Atlantic yellow calorie, just all the spotting and the color on this one was just really nice. I'm glad that stayed together. Beautiful glass, and I can't believe that purple on this coquina, just really stunning. Gorgeous orange on that rough scallop. The power color, and the imperial is just so gorgeous and huge, and that beautiful flats, and the sundial was nice. Lots of jewel box lids, and those giant coquinas, keeping those, and pretty purple wampum on those northern quahogs. Great time at the beach. That Triton, yep, it steals the show. Still has a hole in the back, but hey, can't tell from that side. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share this video with others, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I leave you with this.